Yep.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 6th of 2018 Muscatine City Council meeting. Cinda, will you please do the roll call?
Councilmember Spread?
Present.
Harvey?
Present.
Rockert?
Present.
Macedo? Brackett?
Present.
Fitzgerald?
Present.
Malcolm?
Present.
7 present, 0 absent.
Thank you, Cinda. Will you please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. We appreciate it on this lovely, rainy September evening. I'd like to start by asking if there's anyone here that would like to speak to council about something that's not currently on tonight's agenda. If so, sir, please come to the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Kevin Curry, and I live at 4600 25th Street South. And I'm here in regards to the two city streets that we travel every day. The one in front of my house that is 25th Street South and 47th Avenue West. And I'll try to make a long story short. Oh, Mr. Tobord, I don't know if you guys remember him. He was in charge of the street department, came to my house and said, we're going to seal coat your road because it was gravel. That was 37 years ago. And I said, great. So he seal coated it, and I believe every 2 years he would come down and he would resurface it with tar and pea gravel. And he always took care of the roads, always. After he retired, things just went downhill. And about 9 years ago, I called Randy Hill and told him the road is deteriorating and something needs to be done. You know, you've ignored it since Mr. Tobort retired. Well, we'll come down and take a look at it. Well, that year went by. I called him again. Road kept falling apart, and it was seal coated. Well, the seal coated lasted, I've been there 37 years, so I'm thinking 24 years. And I kept calling Randy Hill and Randy Howell. Well, about 8 years ago, he told me, we got the funding to redo the road, and I mean, it was bad. Potholes, I mean, the seal coat, big chunks. And we got the funding to do the road. He never showed up. So he retired. And as a Brian,
Yes.
he's in charge, so I called Brian. I says, what can we do about 47th Avenue West, 25th Street South? He says, well, we're buying a new machine. It's the cat's meow. It'll take care of the problem. Well, he came down, ground up the road in front of my house, and it made a mess. It turned to mud. I mean, it was terrible. So they brought some ground up asphalt in and put on top of that. Then it got washboard. Terrible. Well, he says, we're going to come down. That was 3 years ago. Then 2 years ago, he said, we're going to come down and redo it. Well, they never showed up. And I called them. They wouldn't answer the phone. And I thought, okay. So this year I called him, and he says, well, you're going to have to go to city council. And you need to, and Nadine's been pulling for us down there. There's 67 potholes. There was one pothole so big you could put a 55-gallon barrel in. My car has been realigned 3 times in the last 18 months. This time it cost me $600 because of the road condition. And I get excuse after excuse. It's been 9 years, and I'm wondering if anybody can tell me what's the time limit on getting a street fixed. And they talked about grinding it up and turning it into gravel. Well, would you do that? It's a city street. Would you do that anywhere else in town and turn it back into gravel? I got a petition here, and I'm representing all these people. And there's about 15 of us that live on that street. I was told one time that there aren't enough people that live down there. I'm going, what? City limits, city street, not enough people. Okay, now there's like 15 houses down there. Now what's the excuse? Then they told me, well, there's too much farm equipment on that road. It tears the road up. Well, Mr. Tobor took care of the road. He looked after it. And it's been neglected all these years. And I told Brian, I'm fed up. I don't know what to do anymore. It's tearing up my vehicles, my neighbors' vehicles. And don't you think that we should have the right to have a decent city street? This has been going on 9 years. I've been patient. I work in a job where I'm accountable to 75 people a day. And I know it gets taxing, you know. So many streets and everything. But 9 years, I think that's really too long.
I understand. Do you mind leaving your petition here with us? Did you make a copy for yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Please, you can leave it there on the podium, and we'll get it after. And we can check with city staff and try to have somebody get back to you
And one
about your
other
concerns.
thing.
Pardon me?
One other thing I want to bring to your attention, there's 2 things real quick, is it's been so neglected, the street department, that I had to call Phil Fitzgerald. You probably remember this. The trees were growing over the road, and we only had one lane of traffic down there. And I called the street department. They wouldn't do anything, so I got a hold of Phil, and he helped me out and got that taken care of.
And that was
One other-
probably about 8, 9 to 10 years ago, because I retired
Yeah,
in 2010.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
And they're starting to grow back over. One other thing I'd like to bring to your attention real quick is the water down on the island. I live on the island, and I'm kind of concerned this happened, what would you say, Phil, 10 years ago? That the water table dropped so low, and it took all of our wells out. Well, just bring to your attention, more wells have been put in down there, so it's going to bring the water table. What about us people that live in the city that don't have city water? What are we going to do about that? And they told me I'd never get city water or city sewer.
Because there's not enough people on your street.
Right.
We'll try to get some answers for you, Mr. Curry. Councilman Saucedo had a question.
Mr. Curry, you mentioned on 25th and 47th, is that both streets that are the ones that are in
Yeah.
need of repair,
47th Avenue West and 25th Street South.
which connects to Mittman Road?
Right.
Yes.
Part of Mittman Road is gravel, that's county. And then 25th Street South used to be Mittman Road, but now it's 25th Street South.
Okay.
We'll speak with city staff and try to get some answers for you and get back to you.
That sounds great.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks a lot.
We appreciate it. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to council about something not currently on tonight's agenda?
Roger Roth, Clark House. This issue, I understand, tonight is going to be coming before council again in October concerning the bend in the river situation that we have a problem with. All rights reserved without prejudice, UCC 1-308. There's some things we may have to consider before we start spending money on something that we see worthless, especially when everyone around the Mississippi has bends and oxbows, and no one else has decided to say bend in the river for a slogan. Even so, while delivering over the bend, we must consider they're spending money for something that deletes funds that may be needed for other born public safety issues. One big example in my research. The New Madrid fault line has two major quakes, the 900 AD and the 1811-1812 AD quake, that in the latter, the bells in Boston, Massachusetts rang, the Mississippi ran backwards, and a couple of temporary waterfalls to occur. When comparing the fault line with the San Andres fault line, we see the New Madrid is 6 times larger, and the quakes, as exampled in the 1811-1812, last longer. The Madrid land is like a great pond, nothing to additionally absorb the shock waves or aftershocks, something like we have with the San Andres in the Rocky Mountains. Excuse me. When the quake situation returns as predicted in the magnitude 7 or greater, the states from where the Mississippi River and the Ohio River meet along south of the river basin, that is southern Illinois, with most effects predicted, including at least 6 more states south of Illinois. Iowa is under what I call secondary quake reactions. This will cause FEMA and other federal agencies to react under triage standards for the most affected area states, and Muscatine, Iowa won't see any federal money in this concerning any damage. This triage is more magnified since FEMA is not going to get another proverbial black eye again since the Hurricane Katrina fiasco in 2005, and I understand from my research, they're still raising more money in case it happens. The earthquake is overdue. The bend in the river expenditure will take money away from that may be needed when predicted quake trembles. Now, the Mississippi River Road down here has a major oversight we all missed. This is where they park backwards. Anyone with 2 wheels, motorized or otherwise, will have a difficulty trying to be safe with the traffic. there's not that much room there for any of them. Since we're still working on Pine Tree through, Broadway, we have to look at this oversight. I, for one, don't want to be a disaster that the city insurance company say, what went wrong here? It's embarrassing. And if we should expand the city concerning the possibility of fire department substations, when we should expand, we should also consider corporations want to come to town. And the distance is too far, at least by fire department standards. We'll need a substation. No corporation wants to say, am I going to pay a $5,000 or am I going to pay $10,000 above my insurance in relation to response time? I thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Hearing nothing, we'll go ahead and move on with tonight's agenda. We're on number 5. The following items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, which includes items 6A and B, items 8A through K, items 12A through D, and tonight's bills totaling $2,146,445.57.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Saucedo with a second by Councilman Spread. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We are going to skip on down now to 11A. And we have an ordinance tonight. Presented for City Council's consideration is the second reading of an ordinance amending Title 8, Chapter 3 of the City Code. This amendment will bring the City of Muscatine into better alignment with the most recent addition to the National Electric Code. Is there a motion to approve the second reading of this ordinance as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Fitzgerald with a second by Councilman Brackett. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Councilman Harvey, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Spread?
Aye.
Councilman Saucedo?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brockert?
Aye.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Councilman Malcolm?
Aye.
And Councilman Brackett.
Aye.
The motion carries with all ayes. We're on 11B. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order to Krieger Motors in the amount of $64,957 for the purchase of a pickup and Tahoe for the fire department. The funds for this purchase are from the sale of the E1 aerial and have been approved by the council to be used for this purchase. Is there a motion to approve this request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilman Malcolm. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. 11C. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order to Impact 7G in an amount not to exceed $5,200 for the ACM and LBP assessments of 500 Mulberry Avenue. This step is required prior to the demolition or construction to detect the asbestos material and lead paint. Is there a motion to approve this request as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Fitzgerald with a second by Councilman Brackett. Is there any discussion?
So does this remove the asbestos as well, or is just an inspection of it?
Just inspection.
I think it's just the inspection.
Correct.
The assessment.
Regardless if they have any, they're gonna charge us this amount.
This is not abatement.
This is
Right.
just,
Correct. This outlines what's there for lead-based paint and asbestos. If there's none of each, it gives us a clean slate to construct from.
Thank you.
I have one minor question.
Sure.
Mr. Govan, hi there. What's the amount of timetable for them to do this inspection? Is it gonna be like 30 days, 60 days? Do you know? Did they give an estimate of how much time this is gonna take?
Well, with the, both this request and the second request here for the reimbursement of these funds, if we can get it signed by tomorrow, we can get approval. If we don't, we'll have to wait till the end of September. So, and then when we get the thumbs up from the state, then we can proceed. So we're gonna move hard to try to get signatures, for the contract at least, and then I can issue the PO.
But once they start, how long of a time frame does it take?
Oh,
them
it
to do?
would take probably a week or so, and what
Okay.
they do is they test things too. It's not just, that looks good or that looks bad. They actually will test different sections of the building, inside and outside.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Hearing nothing else, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We're on 11D, and presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the Iowa Department of Natural Resources contract to reimburse the city for the ACM and LBP assessments of 500 Mulberry. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Spread with a second by Councilwoman Brockert. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We're on 11E. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order to Convectex LLC in the amount of $9,695.96 for the purchase of heat treatment equipment. This equipment will be used to treat Muscatine municipal housing units for bed bugs. There's $10,000 budgeted for this equipment. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilwoman Brockert. Is there any discussion? Nobody wants to talk about this, Jody. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. 11F. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order to Keltec in the amount of $6,481.47 for the purchase of 2 vehicle light bars for the police department. There's $7,000 budgeted for this expense. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second, Councilwoman Brockert?
Yes, second.
We have a motion by Councilman Harvey with a second by Councilwoman Brockert. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We're on 11G. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order to Stalker in the amount of $6,156 for the purchase of 2 Stalker radar units for the police department. There's currently $6,000 budgeted for this expense. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Harvey with a second by Councilman Spread. Any discussion?
Yeah, quick, does the extra $156 come out of the donut fund?
Oh,
Really? Come on.
Ouch.
Okay, his car's parked right out there for today.
It's a dark one.
hearing nothing else, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. 11H. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order to PubWorks in the amount of $31,425 for the purchase of asset management software to be used by multiple departments. Funds for this purchase are available in multiple public works budgets. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilman Spread. Any discussion?
I do.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Brian, have we tested any of this software? or have you used it before to?
We have not tested it. We have had a demo here, and we've reviewed it and compared it with others similar products. I think we went through 6 or 7 different versions and interviewed them and had demonstrations here. We found this one would do everything that we needed it to do, and at this price point, it's the lowest, most reasonably priced one that we could find as well.
Did we talk about it in budgets?
We did, yes, we did budget for
Okay.
this out of
I was
several
thinking
budgets.
I remembered.
Fleet, vehicle maintenance, building and grounds have budget items for this, as well as water pollution control plant. We also believe that housing will be able to use this, fire department may be able to use this as well. Solid waste should be able to use it, so it's a multi-functional, multifaceted system that it only requires one user fee for unlimited users. So
Sure.
we feel this is the best option for us right now.
Councilwoman Brackett?
Yes, if you're not doing testing, are you at least going to do a dry run with a separate system to make sure everything works properly?
I guess I'm not quite sure what you're asking. If we make the purchase, they'll come in and train everybody to use it, and we'll run demos through that, and so we'll have training for all the users. Is that what
But
you're
then-
asking? Or?
Well, no. What we always did was download our information on a separate server that was completely separate from what we were working on, and then we tested extensively before we dumped the new system into what we were using daily, and we still had problems. So if we don't test, how do we know what kinds of bugs we might run into?
That's a good point. We'll have to look into that. We did not consider that.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I do.
So Brian, I have one question.
Go ahead.
Is this possible to be expandable if things grow? Can this grow with us?
Definitely, yes,
And will they be providing, I'm assuming this is some type of software.
yes.
So softwares have a tendency to be updated. Is the purchase price including the updates, or they're going to be additional?
There's an upfront purchase price, and there's a yearly maintenance fee that goes with that. That would cover all the updates, all the unlimited technical support that we may or may not need, and all those newer versions are all included in that
Okay.
user fee.
Councilman Spread?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago, we purchased a fairly complex accounting system. Does this interface with that system, do we know?
It is supposed to, yes,
Well, good. Okay.
and we'll have to test it and make sure.
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions?
So, I just one last question. It's PubWorks. Is that a normal system that other cities have used it in a sense? Is that because it's a public works of some sort?
It's designed with public works in mind. We have gained several references from the company. We'll be the first ones in Iowa to use it. There are multiple users. We've talked to people in Missouri, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Michigan. I forget how many users that they have. They have a 90% retention rate. These are all their selling points, but it seems to work very well for everybody that we've talked to that's used it. They really have no complaints. And they said this company is very, very user-friendly, very customer-friendly, are able to adapt this to meet or to fit into whatever systems that we have. So we feel comfortable and confident recommending this.
So my last question, will it be able to interface with our OpenGov eventually for your costs and your accounting, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I believe it will.
Okay.
We asked them, and I don't have the exact yes or no, but we did ask all those questions. When we interviewed them, we had the finance department, we had other departments. It will interface with our vehicle maintenance, our fuel tracking system. The water pollution control plant will be able to dump all their data into this and replace their age system that no longer has support. It is supposed to interface with Springbrook, which is the financial software, and I believe OpenGov as well. And if it doesn't, from what I've talked to the people that have used it, they'll make a patch that'll be able to hook us into it too to make it work. So.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Anyone
Yep.
else? Thank you. Hearing nothing else, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. 11I, presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order to Sinclair Tractor in the amount of $44,990.99 for the purchase of a tractor and flail mower. There's $51,000 budgeted for this expense. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Yeah.
We have a motion by Councilman Harvey with a second by Councilman Fitzgerald. Any discussion?
Yes, Your Honor. What is a flail mower?
Good evening. A flail mower is used to mow different right-of-way areas and ditches and wide open areas. It has a spinning wheel rather than a rotary wheel, blades on them, which help to cut through larger brush as well as grasslands. We usually mow at about a 5 to 6 inch height with that.
Thank you.
Textbook answer. Thank you. Any discussion? Any other? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We're on 11J. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order in the amount of $27,600 to United Rental for the purchase of a boom lift for the Parks and Recreation Department. There's $30,000 budgeted for this expense. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilman Harvey. Any discussion?
Got a few questions?
Come on back up, please.
Nick, it says in the background that the department uses this because we rent it, to rent the units before?
Yes, we currently rent the units 1 to 2 times a year, it seems like right now, and that's just within the park maintenance division itself. I have spoken with Public Works and Water Pollution Control Plant, who also see a need for this, for a lift for their operations as well.
So we couldn't really justify or say that we rent it once or twice a year, that we need to buy one for 30 grand?
This is also going to assist us in tree trimming and tree removals, which we do spend a lot of money on throughout the, with different organizations throughout the community with trimming trees and with removing trees. Speaking with Public Works, they also, with the new library, have a window cleaning that they can do with this piece of equipment out there, so there will be a cost savings there as well. We also see having to rent not only equipment lifts but also scaffolding and bring in other people to assist when it comes to roof inspections, buildings inspections, changing light bulbs, which we've had the assistance with Power and Water on in the past, but we'll be able to go in and do a lot of this maintenance ourselves now.
So this will be a shared unit, not just a public?
That's, yes, and yep, I spoke with Brian and his supervisors, as well as John Cook and his supervisors, and they both have shared an interest in a similar unit.
After 1 year of use, could you give me the hours?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
Your Honor. Nick, how many people are trained on using a boom lift?
We will go through extensive training with United Rentals, who we're purchasing this unit with. We will have all the safety equipment required to utilize this, and we'll make sure everybody who does utilize the piece of equipment is well trained on it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Nick,
Here-
is this,
go
excuse
ahead.
me, is this similar to what they call a JPG?
Yep, similar to it. This is actually a Genie, which is just another brand of a JPG.
So it's self-contained?
Self-contained, yes.
Where do you plan on storing it, if I may ask?
We're going to store this at park maintenance, but we do have to trailer this piece of equipment back and forth. I've talked with Public Works, and they do have a trailer capable of hauling this unit from site to site.
You know how tall it can get?
50 foot.
Okay, pretty high.
Are they foam-filled tires or are they rigid tires?
I honestly, I'm not real sure on that right now. I'd have to look into that.
Thank you. Hearing nothing else, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We're on 11K. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order to MTI Distributing in the amount of $21,646.15 for the purchase of irrigation system components for the Hauser Street parking expansion and athletic field grading project. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second?
We have a motion by Councilman Fitzgerald with a second by Councilman Harvey. Any discussion?
I have a question. Are we voting on also purchasing the materials from Menards?
That's that's in L.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay. Thank you. It's all right.
Is this the same stuff that we talked about the last month's meeting that we threw in at the last minute? Okay. Yeah, we're good.
This is MTI distributed.
Hearing nothing else, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We're on 11L. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order to Menards in the amount of $10,628.01 for the purchase of piping and fittings for the Hauser Street parking expansion and athletic field grading project. Is there a motion to approve this request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Brockert with a second by Councilman Spread. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We're on 11M. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve a memorandum of understanding between the City of Muscatine and Unity Healthcare, Trinity Muscatine. This MOU outlines Trinity Muscatine's commitment to the City of Muscatine and allows Trinity to participate in the federal government's 340B pharmacy program. Is there a motion to approve this request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second?
We have a motion by Councilman Brackett with a second by Councilwoman Brockert. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. We're on 11N. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve an agreement between the City of Muscatine and the Greater Muscatine Chamber of Commerce and Industry for the management of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Second?
We have a motion by Councilman Harvey with a second by Councilwoman Brockert. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I've got some questions on this.
Okay. Who would, go ahead and ask the question, we'll see who can answer.
So this is a renewal. Did any of the verbiage change from last time? I was not on the council then.
We removed the section where it started, I believe, in March of it started a few months early.
Okay.
In March. It's been increased by $5,000 annually, so the monthly amount is different. The dates obviously have changed. And in under section 2, bullet point 2, Greg had asked that be changed from the tournament organizers rather than teams, because they work with the organizers for the tournaments, not the teams. And then there was one other minor language change, and that was Greg, do you remember?
It was to lead.
Oh, lead a hospitality committee, because it was already set up rather than set it up.
Okay, so the rest of the bullet points are relatively the same, as well as under
Yes.
section 3 with the reporting requirements and everything?
Yes, we couldn't find a Word version, so Cindy just typed it up as written before.
Okay, now, on the reporting requirements, are we receiving quarterly or monthly metrics?
We are working with CVB. CVB presents annually at the budget presentation. We're looking at having an annual report. I'm sorry?
And when was the most recent report the city received?
Budget.
So at the beginning of the year? And but this quarterly and monthly metrics requirement was on there last year?
Yes.
Okay. I have a lot of questions about this really, and it we had a short week and short time to review the agenda. I would like to see us push this to the next meeting, and I would like to see a report, because it's a lot of money that we're dedicating to that, and there's a lot of things here that it says that should be happening, but I don't have any up-to-date information on that. So I would I would move that we table it until the next regular meeting and that we have a report at that time. So that we can review it, preferably in advance of the meeting so that we can have some time to review it.
Do we have a second on the motion to table this till next time?
I'll second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So we've approved a motion with the count of 5 ayes, 2 nays to table this till next time. And then we will,
Which can be next week.
which can be, well, next week is the in-depth, so we'll see if we can get it on there. And then we will need to vote on the original motion then to approve it for tonight. And
No, the motion
No,
was
it's been
tabled
tabled.
Oh,
to
yeah,
the
that's
next
right.
regular meeting.
You're right.
Right.
So we're good on that
So that means the additional information will come over the next.
before we vote again at the
Okay.
next meeting.
Hopefully
Yep.
in the next
Yep,
week or
yep,
so.
yep, we're good.
I'm a slow reader.
It's all right. We don't have anything else, so we are going to move on to communications. Councilman Spread, did you have anything tonight?
Nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Councilman Harvey?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Councilwoman Brockert?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Councilman Saucedo?
I just had a comment. I'd gotten a few calls about the rain and the flooding that we've had, and I just wanted to make a point. I think the Public Works has done a good job in trying to explain that. I don't think any city is designed to have the capacity of rain that we had in those last couple of days. So even if we were to try to build an infrastructure bigger to try to have that capacity, we don't design systems to have the amount of rains that we received. But it's definitely something that's unfortunate that we had the amount of rains that we did, and we're hopefully gonna not have a rain like that. And I haven't seen a rain like that in my entire life living here that came as bad as we did these last couple weeks. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Brackett?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Nothing at this time.
Councilman Malcolm?
Yes, Your Honor, I have one little item that we've all been passing back and forth in emails about this special needs parking. I'd like to know, can we add that to our in-depth agenda for next week? And I mean, it seems minor to me, but apparently we need to talk about it fully to resolve it.
Mayor, Council, the Traffic Committee's been working on bringing a draft handicap, on-street handicap parking policy. It's about done. So I would anticipate first meeting October or so, we could probably bring that forward.
For that specific area?
No, as a community-wide policy, as a revised policy, so.
So Andrew, this is not about citywide policy. I'm not.
Oh, okay, maybe I misunderstood.
I'm asking for, I'm talking about 3 specific spots, and I'm seeking resolution one way or the other. And I think if all of us talk about it, have all of it in-depth discussion and understand my feelings and share each other's feelings, we can decide if we want to make this happen for the community.
However, having some citywide consistency or a policy may help make that decision and be consistent going forward. So it may be worth, what we have in place now works sufficiently enough. It may be worth having that discussion before you act on something specific.
Well, I just said talk about it. I didn't say vote on it yet.
No, I understand.
My concern, though, is if I have people sending me videotapes of people in wheelchairs avoiding traffic, trying to get in and out of vehicles. I got people on walkers staggering through traffic and up and down sidewalk. It's just not good. Doesn't work for me. So, like I said, I just think we need to talk so everybody understand what the issue is and see if we can come to some sort of agreement. We're not trying to change the city policy, but sometimes you might have to make exceptions to certain things. I'm looking out for the people that need this, and I'm one of them. Okay, that's my thoughts.
Thank you. So your request was that it be added to? a
depth,
future
so we-
for
And we
discussion.
can talk about it, you know, and decide where we want to go with it.
Thank you. Was that all?
That was it, Your Honor, thank you.
Staff?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
I just had a couple things. Friday, we have the community block party that's going to be held at the Discovery Center from 5:30 to 7:30. Free to the whole community to come on out. Saturday is Second Saturday, so there'll be a lot of events going on downtown. Big Duck Derby racing down Second Street. And then Sunday is Second Sunday, so the concert series will continue. There's only 1 month left for these activities, so get out if you can, if the weather allows, which we don't know how that's gonna go at this time. We are going to take a very brief recess at this time to move into closed session to discuss a couple of different things. So thank you for coming tonight. We look forward to seeing you next week, same time, for our in-depth discussion.
Oh, Lordy.
It is.
Don't let them.
Yeah, let's keep this short, because my dinner